When I was young, the same age my own children are now, I wanted the big box of crayons. You know the one, the towering cathedral of color with the built-in sharpener. The 128 count Crayola arsenal with names so perfect they felt like spells. Burnt sienna, steel blue, forest green, macaroni and cheese. It was a Mount Everest of school supplies, a monument to having everything all at once in your small, dirty, trembling hands. But I wasn't a 128er, not even close. I lived somewhere in the humble middle, that 16 count box on good years and 32 when the wind blew just right. My crayons were stubby, honest things, worn down on one side with wrappers peeled away like bark, the paper labels softening at the corners where my thumb pressed too hard. They weren't pretty, but they were used. They were alive. They'd done their job and asked for nothing more. And the kids who had the big box weren't villains. They weren't spoiled. They were just kids with a brighter tower on their desk. But even then, even in those small years, I noticed something. At the end of every school year, half the crayons in those magnificent boxes still had their factory edges. Perfect little soldiers who'd never been sent into battle, just sitting there, waiting, untouched. All that color, all that possibility, just wasted by the quiet truth that there are only 12 or 20 shades we actually reach for when we're trying to draw the world we know. And I've thought about that a lot as an adult, and as a father, as a man trying to make sense of want and need in a world that tells us more is always better. And I don't think the moral is about doing without. I had what I needed. I made oceans of blue and trees of green, sunsets out of red and yellow, and the occasional flourish of purple. I made what I needed to make because children always do, and I don't begrudge anyone the big box. God knows we all long for beauty even when we don't know what to do with it. But there is something in that long ago classroom, something about ownership and obligation, something very Whitman about the humbleness of ordinary tools and the quiet line between need and want. And maybe that truth is this. That most of life is drawn with the same dozen colors, the ones we hold often, the ones we reach for without thinking, the ones that grow shorter in our hands because they are actually doing the work. Things like love and kindness, patience, grit, decency, curiosity, forgiveness, and courage. These are the often used shades, the ones we hold closely because they're used up by living. And everything else, the glittering extras, the strange colors with fancy names, the stuff we're told we need to be whole, most of it keeps its factory edge until the end. And there is a kind of holiness in learning that. A kind of freedom in knowing that what you need to build a meaningful life can fit inside a small box, that the world doesn't require 128 choices to paint something beautiful, just a willingness to use what you have, to press hard enough to leave a mark, to wear a few crayons down to nothing because something honest passed through them. Maybe that's the moral, the simple one, the one Hemingway would have written. Use what you have, love what you use, and don't confuse the size of the box with the depth of the picture you're meant to make. Because a life well lived is never measured by how many colors you possess, only by how many you actually dared to make art and life with. Defined till death.